radio with Big D and Bubba.
Let's go.
I love our guest this week, Craig Campbell.
This is going to be so much fun because we all love this music, and this is going to be a tribute to our heroes like we've not done yet on the show. We'll come back. Craig Campbell's our guest on Honky Tonkin.
Craig Campbell is our guest this week, and talking some good old stuff, talking the class of '89. We'll get into all that stuff.
I love that you're here with us today because when we first started, doing Honky Tonkin and kind of planning guests out, we're like, who loves this era of music the most? And we started, we were handpicking like our guests to be the first couple, and your name came up immediately. And, Big D said class of '89. That is, to me, that is every bit as awesome as Daryl Singletary. That's why I sing this way.
Oh, dude.
Because and I know you're gonna tell me I'm not right, but I'm telling you that album, that's why I sing this way. When it first came out, it was not a critically applauded, lauded, whatever you want to call it, album, and all of a sudden, people started discovering it and going, man, this is one of the greatest country albums ever, and that's kind of how I feel like Class of '89 is, because you do your interpretations of songs that we love. And it works. It's so good, and you're so good, just like Daryl was so good.
Yeah, no, I will agree with you 100%. The That's Why I Sing This Way record is still in my top 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate all that because these are the songs that shaped us, and when people listen to my music that that I write that have been on the radio or whatnot, I hope that they can hear bits and pieces of all that in the songs that I write and I record. The Under the Influence record that Alan Jackson did years ago, that's what really oh man, I cannot wait to make a record of all the songs that I loved growing up.
I can't wait to get into all that. Also, though, one of my favorites from you, Outskirts of Heaven.
Yes, sir.
Good Lord. If you can get through this and not tear up, good on you. Our guest is Craig Campbell this week on Honky Tonkin. Our guest this week is Craig Campbell. He is not only an artist, but he is a business owner with the Grindstone. His whole
Grindstone
store.
Cowboy is one of the coolest names for a coffee shop, especially when you're talking country and coffee mixed together.
It's the best.
Genius.
And you do live music and stuff there too. So it's
we dabble.
You do a little bit of this.
We may or may not have won music venue of the year in Rutherford County.
It's just
may have happened.
Congratulations.
But you accidentally, I think you quoted our slogan. It's where coffee and country collide.
Oh yeah.
Are there do you feel there's a lot of artists that are kind of get into side businesses like this?
I think so. The truth is, there's only a very small percentage of us country singers that are able to do it at a level like Straight and the Chesneys and the Luke Bryan, and be able to just continue to sell out stadiums
right
till their 70s. The portfolio has to be spread out and other things.
You still got bills, right? You still got to do all that stuff.
And I wanted to open a coffee shop, and it ended up being a lot bigger than that, a lot more than that. So we're actually more of a restaurant than anything, and so I never thought I would be here opening
restaurant
3 restaurants in within 3 years, and so it's
right.
pretty wild.
We're going to catch up with more with Craig Campbell. He is our guest this week. Craig Campbell is our guest this week. As we go back and we'll talk about the class of '89, is iconic in country music because you had so many people coming out. Randy Travis and Chestnut and
Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson. You have all
Travis
these artists.
Tritt.
Travis Tritt.
Shenandoah, Diamond Rio.
You always go to the single artist, but all those bands that were coming out.
Shenandoah, it was later '80s when they were rocking out some hits, but Diamond Rio was definitely part of that early '90s, '91, '92, with Meet in the Middle and all that. It was just
Killing Time though. Is this your first cassette? Is that right?
Yeah, I talked my mom. I had saved up enough money from losing teeth, and the Tooth Fairy hooked me up. I talked her into. I finally saved up. I think $7 was how much a cassette was back then.
Yeah.
And I said, I need to go to Walmart And so she took me to Walmart, and I ran in there and grabbed that thing and snatched off the cellophane and
wore it out.
And buddy, yeah, it wasn't long. I couldn't even read the writing on it no more. But that whole record, and it's a testament to that record itself. I mean, if you go back and look, that thing broke so many records as far as like what for country music. And I was part of that because, I mean, I played that thing a lot.
And remember the beef between Clint and Garth? Like, there was all the people who were trying to make some kind of thing between them.
And it wasn't until I made this record that I realized Class of '89 was actually a thing. I always just associated Class of '89 with that era. I didn't know that it was legit 4 artists.
Yes.
And it was Clint, Garth, Alan, and Travis. And I never knew that until I started doing some research on this album.
Craig Campbell is our guest this week. Got a guitar too. Oh, how about this? You play the beginning of some of an old song that we should know the name of, and let's see if we can't.
This could be like name that tune.
Stump the DJs.
Yeah.
You go ahead. Just start playing. Also, we'll tell you.
But it better be something. Don't close your eyes.
Don't close your
eyes. All right. What about this?
Garth.
Friends in Low Places.
Okay. This.
Dust on the
Dust on the
bottle.
bottle.
Even though I messed it up. Okay, you're doing good.
We're
guys.
not bad. We're not bad. Maybe we'll do this the entire show. We're just going to play occasionally, just come in with a little.
Maybe not, because I'm running out.
Oh, we're running out. Okay. One more. Give us one more.
Let's see. Oh yeah. This is the wrong key, but try this.
Anymore. Travis Tripp. Thank you.
Man, you fast.
Craig Campbell's our guest this week, and we're talking a lot about the class of '89. Do you have a much good story about our friend Mark Chestnut?
I don't have any particular stories about Mark Chestnut. I do know that one of the very first shows I ever got to play was when I played piano for Tracy Byrd. Tracy and Mark are both, I guess, from the Beaumont area, and they did this Memorial Day thing out in Texas. It was like one of the very first shows I ever got to play, and he was on it. And I've always been a Chestnut fan, and just musically and vocally, and it was cool to get to meet him. And he was, and I've seen him downtown on Lower Broadway before too. And sometimes you may or may not want to talk to him in those in that state of mind.
Yeah, right.
And
depending on how early or late in the day.
Yeah. And they always say don't meet your heroes, and so I stayed away.
Oh, but there you go. Craig Campbell in the studio with us as we're this week. Loving all the people don't realize the class of '89 album that you put out. And that's why we have you in it, because you, like Bubba said earlier, this is when we think of people who are huge fans of the era, the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, your name came up quick. There's a certain feel about that era of music, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. I think there will never be another era of country music as good as that, and I'm a product of it.
I hope there is. I hope there is.
I do too. I think it will get close, but I don't think as a whole it will be. Because, I mean, man, you think back then they wasn't signing anybody that just wasn't good. Yeah. And from the singing abilities to the songwriting, the songs were good.
Yes. Performing, everything.
All of that stuff. So it's just the market these days is not calling for it but if they have the opportunity to see it and hear it, then you fall in love with it. It's just different.
Hey, you're really big on TikTok. Let's sign right here.
Yeah. Have you ever done a show?
No, I have not. Craig Campbell, our guest this week. We're talking about the class of '89. Not only is the album from Craig that he did a few years back, but also just one of the great eras of country music. That's why we do it here at Honky Tonkin.
And something that he brought up earlier was, we all get caught up in the Garth and the Clint and the Alan and Travis and the single artist of that era. But really, that was the heyday for bands. Like, country music bands were a thing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And it's funny because, I feel like differently than it is today. There's a lot of bands that get signed, but then when they get into the studio, the producers or whoever has somebody come in and play their parts for them, and then they go out and recreate those parts on the road.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Diamond Rio, they were the guys in the studio, the
Yeah.
Jimmy O's and Dana and just that the music you heard were those guys.
Yes.
And that's just, I don't feel like that's a big,
It's not as much anymore.
for sure.
Yeah, and you get groups like this right here, Bluest Eyes in Texas, Restless Heart on Honky Tonkin. Craig Campbell this week is our guest, and if you could tour with anybody from any era, from the 80s, 90s, or 80s, 90s, and 2000s, who would you want to be on stage with?
I mean, who wouldn't want to be on stage at prime time Garth Brooks?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
The craziness all the while, the throwing the water bottles at each other, and they're running around.
All that. I mean, that
jumping up down.
that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Well, you played piano for Tracy Byrd back in the day, and that's kind of how you got your start. Could you imagine, I mean, what it would be like to be in a stadium, like a giant stadium, or like Central Park even, when they did that with 1 million people?
You look up, there's
million.
helicopters flying above you.
1 million.
1 million. That's insane.
I can't even.
I can't
count
be
that
either.
one. No, I can't. I dream about it sometimes. I dream about walking out on stage and having 75,000 people screaming every word to every song. And one day, I still think it's there. It's out there. It's close, but
3 minutes away.
I can't. Yeah, we're 3 minutes away.
Craig Campbell joining us this week. Craig, what do you give advice for people who are wanting to get into country music today? What would you tell them? You've been through it all, like different record labels. You're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Got a restaurant. You're pretty much doing it all. Still touring.
It's crazy, just the time that I've been doing it, how much it's changed. When I first signed my first record deal, it was going away from albums into streaming, and then now, and even in the last 5 years, is streaming is still obviously very important, but it's social media based,
Yeah.
and that's my
Very
advice.
specific.
That's my advice. I tell everybody that comes with that question is like, you need to get your social numbers up, and that's just your engagement. You gotta get a stories for some people to talk about.
I ain't gonna lie. I would love to see how like maybe a Travis Tritt or a Haggard would do TikToks. Like going to Haggard and saying, "Hey, we need you to get your numbers up," and what he would say.
Could you imagine Johnny Paycheck?
I hate it. I hate it that it's that way.
Hey, David Allen Coe, we need you to do TikTok.
You're right. TikTok wouldn't let him.
No, it would be bleep, bleep,
Beep,
bleep,
beep,
bleep,
beep,
bleep. Yeah,
beep.
100%.
Craig Campbell in the studio hanging with us. His Class of '89 album is so good, paying tribute, like what we do every week here. You have a real heart for it. And also, Be My Baby Tonight is on that album. John Michael Montgomery.
Yeah, every one of these songs has a special story. This particular one, I was 15 years old, and my sister signed me up for a singing contest called the Jimmy Dean True Value Country Showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
And I was 15. There was 22 other contestants on the local level, and she helped me pick the songs. So Be My Baby Tonight was one of them, and Foolish Pride was the other one. And she helped me choreograph some moves on stage, and I won.
Wow.
And that was the day I realized I wanted to be on stage at any time possible.
Or while you're thinking about it too, what we're talking about Class of '89. Is there something that came close to getting on it?
Oh, I've already cut 7 more.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's not out yet.
What? Okay. All right. Which one you want to do? The stump, D, or?
No, I'm good either way.
All right. Well, it's yours. And
Craig Campbell joining us, talking about the Class of '89. He did 6 songs from Randy Travis, Chestnut, Travis Tritt. And I hear you got more coming. There's another.
Oh yeah, no, I've already cut the other half. It's
Volume 2.
No, it'll be once it comes out. We'll call it the deluxe.
Okay. Well,
deluxe.
Who's in it? Who's on that one?
Alan Jackson's on there. Shenandoah's on there. Brian White.
Oh wow. Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's a. We agree that it was over. Now the lines have all been drawn. Vows we made began to fade, but now they're gone. Put your pictures in a shoebox, my gold ring in a drawer. 'Cause I'm not supposed to love you anymore.
When do we think the deluxe is coming out?
It'll be summer, fall.
Okay, all right,
Dude, I can't wait.
Craig Campbell is joining us. We're talking some class of '89, loving these '80s, '90s, and early 2000s. Got a guitar. But you know, you were a keyboardist. Like you were. I'm telling you, like you didn't know this.
Did you know
By
you
the
played
way,
piano?
Do you know this guy named Tracy Bird? Did you know you played keyboards for him?
No, that was a lot of fun for me, and I learned a lot being on the road with Tracy. I remember I learned how to treat fans. He was so good to his fans, and he's just a really. The very first time I saw him was over here at the Delta Ballroom at Gaylord, and was being introduced to him as like, "Hey, here's your new piano player." He didn't even know the band leader hired me, and
Oh, wow.
And I was just standing in the back of the room saying, "Man, this guy's just one of the best live singers I'd ever heard." You know, just sounded just like the record.
Yeah.
But you know, we had some great stories. I remember one time, because I didn't get to rehearse, they just gave me a CD and said, "Learn these songs."
What?
And so I did my best. And I know after the first show, they were like, "Oh, I don't know if this is going to work," but I had 3 shows to really get it nailed down. And so I remember one song in particular where I was surprised as to where it was in the show, because normally people save the really big songs to the end, but this was like number 2 in the set. It was like, yeah, we got 100 gallons of sweet red wine made from the biggest watermelons on the vine. Help yourself to some, but obey the law. If you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl. And I couldn't believe that
They put it in the middle of the show?
No, like number 2. It was like first song was Johnny Cash. I don't know. Did y'all know that he cut that?
No.
The Aldean song?
No, I didn't know that.
So
Oh, the Johnny Cash, Jason Aldean song.
the Aldean song that Jason cut called Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Was originally Tracy
Bird. had it on a record, and that
know
was
that.
what he opened his show with. So when Jason's came out, I was like, I've heard this song before.
I know this. I was on stage when
but
this
yeah,
came
so
out.
it was that song and then Watermelon Crawl, and you could tell that was the song that they all came to hear.
Yeah,
He
right.
burned it and
Yeah. Craig Campbell is in the studio with us, and I think it's time for another game to stump the DJs.
Okay.
Can you give us a little intro, and we have to figure out what song it is.
Yeah, this doesn't fall in the class of '89. But
You can do it whatever you want.
See if you know this one.
Okay.
Silver Wings.
Oh, Silver Wings. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Thank you.
I was like, is this newer or older? I'm like,
This makes
my
us look bad.
brain.
You have to get one that we know for sure.
oh, the whole idea is to make us look good?
Yeah, I don't want to look bad. Yeah.
Try this.
Country Boy Can't Survive.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's the way it works. You guessed it before it was even played.
Preacher man says it's time of love.
Is that not one of the greatest songs ever
It's so
made?
good.
Any genre, any musical taste whatsoever, that is up there with like Beethoven. I mean, it's that.
100%.
It's almost our national anthem, if you
Who
ask
is
me.
Beethoven?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Beethoven. He's our
Beethoven Jr., however, was really awesome.
Craig Campbell joining us in the studio, talking a little class of '89 and Travis Tritt. How many times have you seen Travis Tritt in concert?
Oh yeah.
How many times? A bunch.
Well, before I met him, I think I saw him 4 or 5 times, and then when we finally met, I've done 2 or 3 shows with him since.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know that we mentioned a while earlier about not meeting your heroes, and he was that guy for me because I didn't want to be disappointed, you know, and he was at the top of my list. And,
Same.
And so I had a show with him in St. Louis. I was acoustic, he was acoustic, and I could tell that day was not the day to meet him.
Oh,
And
really?
So yeah, because I really wanted my first meeting with Travis to really mean something to him as well.
Yeah.
So the very first time we really officially met was when he came into the studio to record with me on a song called "A Lot to Live Up to." And so that was the very first official meeting.
And that was a much
better.
Yeah, much better.
Because he wanted to be there.
Gotcha. Yeah. Craig Campbell joining us in the studio, and so appreciative of taking the time, man. Thank you. I did want to talk about the Kenny Campbell Foundation and your heart and soul that's gone into that. Yeah,
the Kenny Campbell Foundation is a foundation I started a couple of years ago, and prior to that, we have done a lot of work with colorectal cancer and awareness and research and raising money for that. And yeah, my dad, Kenny, was 36 years old when he died with colon cancer. So ever since I've had, a quote unquote platform, I knew that what I wanted to do was help raise money and awareness for colorectal cancer, because truth be known, colorectal cancer is super preventable. And had my dad known and had the information available to him back then, there's a chance he could still be here. So that's been my passion project, and we're doing a lot of cool things. A buddy of mine had a GoFundMe, and he got diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer just out of the blue, and I was able to pay his GoFundMe off with this money, and it was just
great.
And that's why I love doing what we do, like for the cornhole tournament, raising money for the Kenny Campbell Foundation, just for stuff like that.
Craig Campbell in the studio with us. We appreciate the time. A song that Bubba's. I'm surprised not fangirling you over a certain song.
Which one? Fish? Are we going to Fish?
This song.
Dude, this is one of the best songs. I mean, every so often, an artist has a song that just is the perfect song for the perfect time for the perfect person. And this was it, I think, for you, because it was magic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we wrote this song, I had no intentions of radio, because I just didn't think radio would have put their arms around it. Yeah, and when we were in the studio writing that song, it was very hard to keep it G-rated. But we were able to pull it off. And I, even as a songwriter, I'm thinking that nobody's ever going to cut this. But I knew I was getting close to signing a record deal. And I said, well, at the very least, I'll cut it, because it's a great live show song.
Sure.
And then once we started playing it live, people were just talking about it and wanting to hear the official version. And so we said, let's put it on the radio and see what happens.
So when you put it out to the record label and said, here's a song I want to put on the album, what did they say?
No, they told me, because I wrote that song before I ever got signed. And so that Family Man and Fish and My Little Cowboy were the 3 songs that they
insisted upon.
Like, we're going to sign you to a record deal just on those 3 songs.
Wow. Yeah. All right, turn it up. It's Fish. Craig Campbell.
It has been a fun show with you, Craig Campbell.
Man, thank y'all. I've had a blast. I don't know about. I mean, I have for sure.
I'm glad. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. We talked about the class of '89, and he has an album where he's got all those songs that he's done. Also, he's got a new song out. It's called "Missing You," so check that out.
And there will be a deluxe version of Class of '89, hopefully soon.
Yeah, no, I'm planning on it being sometime in maybe late summer, early fall.
All right. Thank you, Craig Campbell, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Honky Tonkin on the radio with Big D and Bubba.